Hey guys, Jacob with Jacob Comics. All right, we have a really fun episode. We're going to be reviewing the final issue, at least for now, according to the end of this. They're hinting there could be more, but at least for now, this is the end of the Gambit miniseries, uh, written by Chris Claremont and art by Codian and Grunt Journ. Now, before we get dived into Gambit number 5, I want to let you guys know about the 600 subscriber giveaway. We'll be giving this book away. It's a Marvel number 1 variant. All you have to do is like the video, comment down below, and be subscribed to the channel. And when we hit 600 subscribers, we'll be giving the book away. Just want to let you guys know, as always, that we're going to be going heavy into spoilers for Gambit number 5. And we always have to shout out the creative team because without the creative team, we wouldn't have a comic book, right, guys? So on Gambit 5, we have the writer is Chris Claremont. Is it not right there? I thought it was right there. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So it's by Chris Claremont and Sid Codian, and the colors are by Espen Gruntjern or Gruntagern. I apologize if I mispronounced that. And VC's Clayton Cowles is doing the letters. All right, and there's a forward that kind of gets us caught up, and I'll go ahead and read that. And it says, Remy LeBeau is a thief growing up in New Orleans. He honed his craft from a young age as part of the Thieves Guild. He is also a mutant, and with his power to draw out the potential energy of any given object, he can make even something as harmless as a simple playing card an item of explosive force to be reckoned with. Remy has used his powers and skills to lead a life of adventure and intrigue, traveling and stealing and gallivanting under the nom de guerre Gambit. Gambit's devil may care lifestyle has crossed his path with that of Aurora Monroe, aka Storm, the leader of the mutant heroes known as the X-Men. But a recent encounter with villains has left Aurora de-aged back to childhood, with her memory and mutant power to control the weather unreliable at best. Remy has taken young Aurora under his wing, advancing the thieving skills she first developed as a child on the streets of Cairo. On their latest adventure, a near catastrophe on the road landed Remy and Rose's car in the Mississippi River. With the help of Marissa de Castro and her mother, Dr. Gabriela de Castro, Rose survived, but not before meeting her ancestor Ashake on the astral plane. While Aurora was recuperating, Remy butted heads with Dominic Solazar, a local developer trying to force the De Castros out of their home. Solars and his men kidnapped Ro and Gabriella, but Remy and Marissa managed to rescue them with an assist from Ashake. In the aftermath, Solars was visited by an alien named Bounty, who was hunting down Remy's comrade, an interstellar singing sensation, Leela Cheney. The two pursued Remy to Leela's next concert as a means of catching the teleporting Lila off guard and using her friends as leverage. After a hard fought battle, Remy managed to work out a tense truce with Bounty. Meanwhile, Solars was recruited by another set of intergalactic bounty hunters chasing Lila. Marissa discovered these new threats, but was stabbed by Solars before she could warn the others. That kind of gets us all caught up. And as we start, basically, as has been stated, uh, Marissa is captured by the bad guy right there, um, Bonehead. Okay, and kind of like he puts her inside of his body, and it's somewhat disturbing. Um, they're trying to basically save her, but it he's the best way to describe it, he seems to be some sort of weird alien that conjoins with her and kind of feeds off of her life. Now they start fighting with with there's because he has two other companions, right? And so the mother starts fighting with one of the companions who seems to have like kind of water powers. Storm comes in, tries to save her, but before Storm can do much, the the lady seems to kind of take over the other girl's powers. I'm not sure how else to explain it, but she seems to. So the mother of Marissa, Gabriella DaCosta, absorbs one of these aliens' powers, and she seemingly has killed her, right? Um, and and then there's another guy who's kind of a hawk man, and the one girl stabs him somewhat, and you know, Marissa DeCastro is still being held by Bonehead, and Bonehead says, "Not listening meat doesn't care. Figure you're all here because that's part of a plan. Not our fault you have a problem with the outcome. You and your boyfriend do make a lovely pair. Figure I'll mush your skulls so your bones will be like in agony for as long as I feel like holding on to you both. Then, of course, you'll be forgotten. And for what your mother just did to Tsunami, well, sweet Marissa, just imagine what I'll do to her." And so Gambit comes in and starts throwing down with his stick that's kind of charged up, and we see from the inside that Marissa is fighting the boneheads control, right, and kind of how he's using her body as energy. She starts fighting that, and she's kind of able to at least depower him enough that Gambit can get the upper hand. And as it says, the struggle isn't easy, especially with Bonehead fighting just as desperately to regain control. Marissa fights now as she's always done, and with the help of a thief who's stolen her heart, wins. Marissa once more controls her arms and hands, but that doesn't make what comes next any easier. And as Gambit leans over and says, "I don't want to hurt you, Cher." And she says, "You won't, my darling, you can't." As Gambit says, "This ain't right." She says, "I'm alive, I'm free. You saved me, that's what's right." Although we see that she's very disfigured, is the best way to kind of put it from the situation. I'll sort of show here this last panel, and as I'm kind of reading this. And so Gambit says, it ain't fair. And she replies, "Fair's a word that's lost all meaning. What matters is doing good. What matters is having hope." "The one springs eternal, darling," Gambit replies with tears in his eyes. The other, "Now that's the challenge," as they hold an embrace. Like I said, I'll kind of show you a little bit there so you can kind of get an idea of what the art's like. It is a little bit more of a disturbing issue. I'm not sure if it's for the kiddos, but yeah, she especially with what ends up happening to her, it's pretty sad if you read from issue one. And then it says, much later, and Gambit's just kind of looking and moping. And Aurora comes up and says, "What happened with Solars?" Gambit says, "Bounty took him. One more favor I owe her. Man should enjoy an outworld prison, assuming he survives the first day." And Aurora says, "I'm sorry, but if this is what love's like, I'm never going to let it happen to me." Gambit says, "I'll believe that when I see it, child." Aurora says, "Not a child." He says, "Course not." She replies, "I'm sorry this happened." Gambit says, "Me too." Storm says, I hope she gets better." Gambit says, "Me too." Storm replies, "How long you gonna mope?" Gambit says, "Don't know." You got something more fun in mind? And she replies, well, since you ask, now that your old business is finished, figured it might be fun to move on and have ourselves a whole new adventure. And it and a kind of a from the author says, and you know what? That's just what they did. And like I was saying, there's kind of a backup here written by Mark Basso. You can kind of see there. That does say, just read this last one here. It says, so what's next for Gambit? Well, we all know he and Rowe eventually met up with the X-Men and Remy joined the team. But it doesn't seem like Gambit and Rowe are quite done with their road trip, does it? Perhaps there's yet more untold. ... And so I'm not too sure about that because this was the final issue of the Clairemont written Gambit little mini series that they were doing. That kind of told the story of what happened after Gambit's first appearance and how him and just an adventure with him and Rowe that kind of took place within that time period before he ends up joining the team, right? Um, but right after 266, while Rowe's still young and Gambit's kind of saved her and they've befriended each other. So I don't know that I've had fun with this series. This particular issue wasn't the strongest. I kind of feel like we rushed to wrapping some things up, unfortunately. Um, you know, maybe the story was a bit bigger than 5 issues, and they kind of like were able, maybe it was a 6 issue arc, right? And it got pushed into 5. That's sort of how it felt here at the end. We rushed through some stuff. Um, I would have liked, I think, a little bit more. Well, another issue of setup where Marissa and Gambit kind of get to bond and hang out and let you really enjoy that interaction, and then be even more sad when Bonehead excuse me, when Bonehead kind of really messes her up. If you guys read this issue, you know what I'm talking about. I didn't want to show it for the kids that might be watching it. Like I said, it's a little disturbing what happens to her, honestly. And yeah, so hey man, but in all, I had fun with the whole 5 issue mini, and the Gambit and Aurora relationship, and them just kind of having fun. Um, and they kind of told a little love story here where Gambit gets his heart broken, like always seems to happen to our favorite Cajun. All right, guys. So that's what I have. That's what I have, man. Gambit 5 gets a thumbs up. If you guys watch this far, like this kind of content, remember, like, comment, be subscribed to the channel. It'll give you a chance to win the Marvel book when we hit 600 subscribers. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, and have a great day.